Of the basic necessities in life, food is the most essential, as no living thing can survive without it. That's because food nourishes and energizes. Imagine a nation that cannot feed itself. What would happen to its citizens? That appears to be the situation in Nigeria today, as certain economic parameters, such as consistent increase in petrol pump price, widespread insecurity, falling agricultural practices, among others, have given rise to skyrocketing food prices. As we speak, bread makers in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, are on strike. Why? Prices of ingredients for making bread have risen. And according to the price of bread, when the strike is called off, bread is like the commonest food that the poorest man can fall back on. If gari, beans, yam, rice, and other staple food items are no longer within the reach of the common man, what then is left for the people? Yet, only a couple of hours ago, Garba Shehu, the senior special assistant on media to the president, came out to say that under the Buhari administration, food prices are dropping due to the agricultural policies of the administration. One then wonders if the likes of Garba Shehu actually exist in this same country or govern Nigeria from another planet. But it is not for me to say. I throw it back to Nigerians. Are you better off in food supply or worse off as the days go by? It is on this note that I welcome you on another edition of Voice of Liberation on Pensioners 106.7 FM, Agbarigo, Uniriki, Ibadan. We are broadcasting from the Oyo State Pensioners House, Africa's model. My name is Pius Nsabe. On the program today, we will look at the recent increase in electricity tariff. We'll be talking with the Regional Communications Officer, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, Mrs. Regina Adelokun, who will tell us the financial implication of the latest move. Also, I have a rights activist who led a recent protest against the hike in petrol pump price and electricity tariff. He will be joining me in the studio this morning also. And later on, another erudite guest will be joining me to discuss the federal government's 2050 vision, or better still, the Vision 2050, which committee was recently inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari. It promises to be an informative and educative one on the program this morning. I can only urge you to hang around as we take this short musical break. Please stay tuned.
Waiting for my freedom. And anytime I try, it's me sorrow and bitterness and pains. Waiting for my season. And each time I try, it make my shame of it and I get oh. I saw you coming down. Every minute of my skirt this time I see it. And sometimes I wonder if my season will ever come to it. Discussion of people is in this poverty, them say yo. Discussion of this soul is vanity. But I be mature. But the life will come for us. So, we got be mature. We got be mature. What can I say? Oh, but the life we got be mature. We got be mature. Jesus Christ. Everything in life has got its time and season. And time to destroy, and time to be loyal.
Our business is to speak for the voiceless and demand better deals for the vulnerable. Stakeholders must be alive to their responsibilities to the people. If they are not, we will shout. The program is Voice of Liberation on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barigo, Onireke, Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. Have you lent a voice today?
Welcome back. It's Voice of Liberation on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barigo, Onireke, Ibadan. We now take our pension and labor stories roundup for the week. Southwest Wing of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners NUP says it is pleased with the Lagos State government for acceding to some of their demands, one of which is the placement of pensioners in the state on 33% increment. Recall that Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu approved a 33% increment for all state pensioners under the defined benefit scheme with effect from the 1st of January 2020. In an interview with Pensioners FM's correspondent Yetunde Oke, the public relations officer of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners Southwest Wing, Comrade Olusegun Abatan, said the circular for the placement of pensioners on 33% increment was issued 10 years ago. On whether the union was still planning a protest in Lagos State over non-payment of entitlement to pensioners in Lagos State, Tom used the opportunity to charge other governors across the country to look into the issue of harmonization of pension, as some pensioners, according to him, still earn as low as placing themselves on salaries above their current status. Briefing newsmen in Minna, the state capital, the head of service, Hajia Salamatu Abubakar, said their dismissal was approved by the State Executive Council at its meeting. Similarly, Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahya directed the immediate suspension of the salaries of all primary health center staff who failed to physically appear before the verification committee set up by the state government to verify its workforce. Meanwhile, the State Ministry of Health has disclosed that it suspended the salaries of about 20 medical doctors on government's payroll who were not at their various duty posts for a very long time but were drawing monthly salaries. A retired Don, Professor Titi Hassan, wants workers to make adequate preparation for their retirement so as to have a soft landing after their years of service. Professor Hassan, a former Dean Faculty of Science at the University of Ibadan, who featured on the Pensioners FM's program, The Grey Hair, was of the view that some people suffer during retirement because they fail to make adequate preparations while in active service. Speaking on the role of the government in making life more meaningful for retired personnel, the Don expressed disappointment that the Nigerian government cares very little about the future of its workers. Professor Hassan charged retirees to live a life of contentment and avoid issues that would add stress to their lives as they enjoy their retirement. Those were some of the labor and pension stories we will be bringing for you on the program this morning. All right, now let's go to another segment, which is the Know Your Country segment, which, of course, talks about issues about Nigeria by way of informing and educating us, particularly our younger generation. On Know Your Country today, we will be looking at the groundnut pyramids. Groundnut pyramids were pyramid-like structures made from sacks of groundnut in the past. The pyramids were built in northern Nigeria in cities such as Kano, where groundnut production was a key part of the economy. They were viewed as both a tourist attraction and a symbol of wealth for the country. In the 1960s and 70s, as production in Nigeria shifted from agriculture to oil. The groundnut pyramids disappeared. Recently, the Nigerian government made efforts to revive the groundnut industry and rebuild the pyramids. One groundnut pyramid could be made from as much as 15,000 full groundnut bags. Groundnut pyramids were built across the northern Nigeria in some cities. The pyramids became synonymous with Nigeria's agricultural wealth. A postage stamp even featured a groundnut pyramid. However, as the groundnut production declined in the 70s and 80s, the groundnut pyramids disappeared and were replaced with buildings. The disappearance of the groundnut pyramids, just as the oil drums in the east and cocoa bags in the west, signified a dwindling agricultural fortune in Nigeria. On February 24, 2014, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the then Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, launched a groundnut value chain project. This project was a joint venture between the federal government and the International Crop Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics. The aim was twofold: to increase Nigeria's groundnut production and build the groundnut pyramids. President Goodluck Jonathan reiterated the government's desire to rebuild the pyramids in March 2015. 5 years after, what has happened to that dream of returning the groundnut pyramid? Your guess is as good as mine. I hope you picked one or two things in Know Your Country today as we talk about the groundnut pyramids that have disappeared in the country. We will be back shortly to continue with other aspects of the program. Please stay tuned. Next Saturday, we will be having another election in Edo State. Governorship election. Indications have emerged that all is set for that election to hold, with the Titans filing out their sword, political sword this time around, to engage in that exercise. What is the situation in Edo State as we speak? Our man Ibiumi Ishola engaged an Edo-based journalist, Godwin Ugbemodia, who gave us an update as to the political atmosphere in Edo State. Let's hear him.
Definitely, as I said, the situation really calmed down after the event. We called the political navigators and a very serious warning to all of them that they belong to all of them. You cancel everybody and who is going to win over. So that has really go a long way to help that the situation that is calm today.
All right. That is the update. The indications are that things are calm in Edo State as we speak, especially with the recent reconciliatory meeting the Oba of Benin held with the frontliners in that election. We can only hope that when they eventually file out next Saturday, there will be peace and the people will be the priority at the end of the day. As we talk about the Edo election, we also talk about the Ondo election, which of course comes up in October 10 to be precise. A lot has been happening, the latest of which is a recent fire incident which gutted a section of the INEC office in that state. And from the report we have, about 5,000, yes, a whopping 5,000 card readers were burned. What is the implication of this? Economically, the implication is quite massive because you need funds to get these card reader machines, which do not come cheap. But what is the political implication of this? Well, INEC says it will not affect the election. The elections will go on as planned. Let us keep our hands crossed while we watch things unfold in that state. But also during the week, two legislators of the Ondo Assembly were reportedly locked out of the complex. Of course, they are members of the opposition. Is that part of the drama leading to the October 10 governorship election in the state? Well, let's just get the effects of what really happened.
I'm at the gate now, Mr. Speaker. I was being logged out. I don't know what is going on. No. I was being logged out. Immediately they saw me. Shut up. Were you not here? Were you not here? Were you not here? Were you not here? You asked them to lock us out. Were you not here? Were you not here?
It's all right. Again, we will monitor events and see how things unfold in that state, leading to the October 10 governorship election. Now, during the week, a set of Nigerians converged on different parts of the country to demonstrate against the recent hike in electricity tariff and, of course, the petrol pump price in the country. Here in Ibadan, we had such gathering by the All Workers Convergence and student bodies, particularly the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS. Our correspondents, Michael Adeyemo and Yomi Adeshino, were present at the event, and of course, they filed in this next report you are about to listen to.
In the protest held at the premises of the Federal Secretariat Complex, Ibadan, coordinator of All Workers Convergence, AWC, Comrade Andrew Emelieze, asked the federal government to reverse the hike in the pump price of petrol and electricity tariff.
Our president, Muhammad Buhari, has disappointed us, and through his tenure so far, he had increased the pump price of petrol 4 times, and he had continued to bring pains to the Nigerian people, and we are saying no to that. That is why we are here today with the Nigerian students, with workers in Oyo State, to protest, to say no to hike in fuel price, to say no to hike in electricity tariff, and we are calling on all Nigerians. We should not just sit down at home and protest on the internet. We should come out to protest on the streets.
Also, the chairman, National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Oyo State, Comrade Opakunle Mayowa, condemned the recent hike in prices.
It doesn't all go well. And from the angle of the student, we are able to phantom that the federal government doesn't have us at heart.
The president, National Association of Polytechnic Students, NAPS, Comrade Olalere Adetunji, said it was an act of cruelty for President Muhammadu Buhari to impose price hikes at the time millions of Nigerians were bearing the brunt of economic losses brought upon them by the lockdown due to COVID-19.
We are here this morning to pass an information to the presidency, to President Muhammadu Buhari, as a good father of this nation, that the fuel price hike is a shame and it's a slap on Nigeria. Because whenever the price of fuel is increased, automatically it drags all the other prices of the food items. So we are here. Let's look at it. They're talking about subsidy. They're talking about managing the economy. Can they cut the cost of the governmental operation? Can they cost the government officials running costs to amend the economic situation of the country?
An 8-year-old girl, Beatrice, who was part of the protest, expressed her feeling about the situation.
I left today because I'm not happy because they increased the price of the petrol. Nigerians are suffering.
Meanwhile, the head of Federal Information Center, Ibadan, Omolara Eson, who received the protesters, promised that she would deliver their message to the federal government.
Greater Nigerian students once again. And I also want you to know that we are in it together. We all know where the shoe pinches. But sincerely, I just want to encourage us to exercise more. You've been patient, but you can be more patient. Then I also want to assure you, yes, I want to assure you, I want to promise you that I'm going to deliver your message. And right away, as I'm getting back to my office, on my table, I will start the process.
Before dispersing the venue, the protesters gave the federal government a 7-day ultimatum to reverse the pump price of petrol and electricity tariff or face a nationwide protest. Similar protests were held in some southwest states. On behalf of my colleague Michael Adeyemo, I am Oluwayomi Adeshino, reporting for Pensioners FM.
All right, thank you therefore to our correspondent for that beautiful job. Now I have on the line the Regional Communications Officer, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, Mrs. Regina Adelokun, to speak on some of the issues having to do with the increase in electricity tariff in the country. Hello, Mrs. Adelokun, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Mr. Pius, and good morning, Nigeria.
It's so nice having you on the program this morning.
To be on the line.
All right. Now, without taking too much of your time, would you like to explain to us what this tariff increase means? How much exactly are Nigerians now paying?
Thank you very much. It's not every Nigeria that is going to pay for an increase.
Okay.
It is called service reflective tariff. For feeders and for feeders that get from 20 hours, 16 and 12 hours are the people that are going to be paying more because the service is efficient at that level.
Okay.
Now, others that are yet to come up are below, are still going to pay their old price.
Now, the president said that those who do not consume up to 12 hours per day will not be affected. I think this whole thing, there's a bit of confusion there. How do you measure all these things?
There's no confusion. Electricity, for us, as much as we know, is something that is quantifiable. There are devices that are meant to measure it, which we all know called meters, either the postpaid or the prepaid. They are electronic device meant to measure it. Now, from the source, you have a measurement instrument, the device, the meter. So it is not going to be, there's no confusion because every hour that electricity is being supplied to Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, there's somebody called a DSO who is at the control room that records hours of supply from the transmission company of Nigeria. And all those feeders are not what you just do by choice. They are engineering and they have been mapped with the engineering standard and procedures. So it's not confusing. And we know our communities and our customers at different locations that enjoy a particular hour of supply. So it's not confusing.
All right. Now, some sources say that the new tariff increase is from 22 naira per kilowatt per hour to 66 naira per kilowatt per hour. But some are saying it is from 30 naira to 62 naira. Which one is the correct narrative here?
Okay, tariff classification differs from one disco to the other. And this is something from time immemorial. So I want to say that, like for us in Ibadan Disco, our tariff for those who enjoy 20 hours upwards is between 62, from 61, 62, I think to 63. That's where we range. And then people that enjoy 16 hours are within 50s. Sorry, I don't have the document right in front of me, but within that range. But we are going to come out with a publicity that there will be no hidden agenda. People will be able to see based on hours of supply to their communities and to the feeder that feeds their community.
Okay, let's talk about the implication of this increase on Nigerians, particularly those within your jurisdiction, the IBEDC. What is the implication of this? Is that a kind of triple payment we are going to be witnessing?
Thank you, Mr. Pius.
Yes.
You see, this increment became a necessity. I want you to understand that I am talking as a communication officer for Ibadan region. I also have a boss who also monitors what I do. Now, if this tariff is not what is done for only a sect, every IBDC staff is also a staff and a customer, because we pay for our bills. We don't get rebates, So the positive side of this is we will be able to use the funds from those areas that we service very well to develop the places where we have weak infrastructure. That we cannot pretend it does not exist, because there are places that get 4 hours per day. And this is nothing, or this is not on purpose, but this is because the infrastructures are weak and there is need for upgrade and there is need for expansion.
Yes. Yes.
Now, you see, let's say the truth. If for those of us that have siblings and friends in the other side of the world, they tell you I've got to pay my bills. Your light doesn't stop, your gas doesn't stop, you have steady flow. But if you ask them, they'll tell you how much they pay. And they're not too bothered, because what they are paying for, they are seeing it. And that is where we want to go. That we'll be able to service customers in a better form than what it used to be.
All right.
It takes funds to be able to run this business.
First of all, two things here. You've not answered the first question I asked. Assuming I'm paying 2,000 naira monthly, or based on how I am charged, is the implication now that I'm going to be paying triple that amount? Is that the implication? So that we prepare ourselves.
Okay. I want us to also prepare our mind. Are we going to get value for what we are paying?
That's my next line of question. So you can't be paying for what you don't get value for.
Now, people will be paying for, they will be getting value for what they are paying. Now, if you don't get value, there is a redress mechanism that you can come to customer care. You can also take us to the regulator and say, these people are billing me heavily and I don't get it. And then there's a policy now, the Meter Asset Provider Scheme, which was done by NEC, our regulators, that customers can go ahead and purchase their meter and be able to regulate what they use. So one thing is certain, my brother, if we must get comfort, comfort must come with a price tag.
But why shouldn't that comfort come before the price tag? Why should we be paying for what we don't enjoy? You should have put your house in order. Then you charge Nigerians as much as you can. But leaving that aside,
that is why this is called service reflective. It is only areas that enjoy it better that will be paying that.
Oh.
If you in 24 hours, you get light for 20 hours. I guess, as a nation, we have not generated enough. What is available is what we are distributing, because we are the retailers. Now, what if you are getting 20 hours a day? At least, if for nothing, I may not be spending any amount or much amount on diesel or petrol. So these are the people that will be paying, not people that get less than 12 hours that will not.
All right, we will see how that works out in the days ahead. And if need be, we will call you to talk to you on this. But before I let go of you on the program this morning,
thank you.
What is being done to check this issue of estimated billing that still goes on even as I speak?
Estimated billing is a process of billing a customer based on NEC regulation. And the Meter Asset Provider Scheme, which was initiated by government in the name of our regulators, was to bring people who can fund that process while customers buy the meter. So that is a process that will be able to end it. And it is ongoing. Customers are advised to key into it so that you can regulate what you want to use and be happier.
Are you promising that sooner than later, everyone will be adequately metered?
Once you can afford it. Now the process is customers pay for it. In 10 working days, they get metered. Once you pass through the procedure.
Are you sure of that? Are you very sure of that?
My brother, I don't tell you this. I don't tell you stories I don't know. I am telling you there is an ongoing process now. If there are issues that people even have challenges, my office is at Oluyole. Please come there with your complaints. I'll direct you to the right officers and customers will get issues resolved. The windows are open. If you go to our website, you'll see us there how to get it. And if you are in doubt, we also have the customer care number where you'll be communicated in either of the language, the three major languages, and you'll be guided appropriately. And if you come to the office, there's a customer care that is live and direct, and you'll be addressed, and your issues can be resolved. For as bad as it is, there's a address mechanism.
All right.
I am very sure about that for Ibadan Disco.
All right, I have to let you go now. The Regional Communications Officer, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, Mrs. Regina Adeloku. It's been nice speaking with you on Voice of Liberation this beautiful morning.
Thank you very much, Pensioner FM. Thank you for this privilege. God bless Nigeria. We
Have a
are
nice
all in
day.
it.
Thank you. All right, you just heard the Regional Communications Officer, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, Mrs. Regina Adeloku, speaking on the implication of the recently hiked electricity tariff in the country. I have with me in the studio this morning the man, or one of the men, who led a recent protest in Ibadan. The coordinator, if you would like, of the All Workers Convergence in Oyo State, and an immediate past chairman of the Trade Union Congress, also in Oyo State. I'm talking about Comrade Andrew Emelieze. Comrade, you are welcome on Voice of Liberation.
Good morning, and it's good to be with you. Good morning, Nigerians.
You heard the report from our correspondent.
Yeah.
Did it reflect what happened on the day you hit the street to protest?
Well, I think what we are hearing so far is a voice and narrative of confusion. Just like Fela's song will say that you want to scatter your head. They are bringing in so many variables to cause more and more confusions. Like in the process of taking it all from NEPA, we are having GENCOs, DISCOs, transmission companies, and under all these different companies, you're having smaller companies so that they say this is responsible for this is coming up with this service and what have you. So all this does not make sense to us until when we are able to see and feel electricity being supplied at a reasonable rate. What we've been presented with is like close to 200% increment in electricity tariff, and they've not been able to defend it.
Well, you just heard what the Regional Communications Officer for IVDC said. Are you satisfied with the responses that she gave?
We cannot be satisfied as citizens. What we are expected to have is service delivery, and we are not having it. Now we are being told that some areas will have electricity for a few hours, some will not have at all, some will have for more hours. Why the discrimination? Why must you give to a particular area more than a particular area? There are some areas like where I stay in a very local area. I have nothing to hide about that. We don't have electricity, and when we must have it, it must be midnight when everybody is asleep, or when we have to be disturbed to come and do some work at night. And you see that the electricity that is being supplied as at that time is not of any use to you. And at the end of the day, you are billed. In most areas, no meters, and it is rough estimate billings that is being given to people. And it's like Nigerians are paying for darkness. And that is why part of what the Nigerian students and Nigerian workers are requesting for is that all this whole idea of commercialization, privatization, and what have you, of NEPA and what have you, that is not in the interest of Nigeria, because the way it is being distributed now, IBEDC and the different things, is that they have put the wealth of the nation in the hands of some private people who, of course, have been part of the problem confronting us in this country. People that have stolen our nation's wealth are the same people that have used this stolen fund to buy off NEPA. And at the end of the day, they are making so much money and they are not satisfied with it. Even the madam that just spoke, if we ask her now, probably later, much more later, how much is IBEDC Ibadan making? How much are they making? How much more are they investing in part of what they are making? to their investment. They are not satisfied with what they are making. From the investigation we have, they make close to 5 billion every month, which is enough to inject into whatsoever they are doing so that the services will be better placed. But they are not doing that. What they are interested in is how to extort, how to exploit the citizenry. And that's why they are increasing. I mean, it's unreasonable, equally irrational, illegal, and equally criminal for you to increase electricity tariff where everything is static, wage is static, business has been static. We have been hit by a horrible pandemic. The country has been in economic crisis. The people are just recovering. In fact, nobody even knows the next line of action to take. Now we are being confronted with hike in electricity tariff. And you are telling me that it is also going to be discriminatory. Is Nigeria turning to an apartheid country where some people will have electricity, some people will not have, and you now have justification to say that the billings will be different, that the increment is for a few persons that are enjoying the electricity and the rest that are not enjoying it will not. I mean, it's a gradual thing. They will do it for a few that is enjoying the electricity for now, then much more later, before you know, it becomes uniform. And even those that are not enjoying the electricity will also pay that high bill. So all these things are flimsy excuses. They are not tenable before the Nigerian people. What the Nigerian people want is stable power, stable electricity, so that we don't get wasted away. Unlike when we're coming up as younger ones, we used to have stable electricity. You have time to read, to research at night. But nowadays, it's no longer there. You see yourself almost wasting away. All through the night, you are sleeping. Then how can we have productivity? How can the country make moves? How can the country grow? When people need, I mean, the source of power now, like Lenin will say, is electrification of the society. If electricity is not constant, and over the years, it's been same sad old story, it's not constant, then how then do we make progress? The entrepreneurs, they need electricity. The industries, they need electricity. The different factories, they need it. And if there's no electricity, they look for other alternatives. And with all these other alternatives like generator, solar, and what have you, it makes cost of production very high. And who bears the brunt? It's the masses. It means that price of goods and services will escalate. What they've done now, including every other thing that the government is doing, is that it will reflect back in the price of goods and services. It will reflect back on the quality of our naira and the economy. Implication is that the economy, the naira, will be devalued. And is it in our own national interest for this to be done? Must we always increase the price of goods and services before these services can be provided? You are coming in as a disco, as a company. You are expected to come with your funds to come and inject into and put these services in place for the people. Not for you to come and exploit the people and use what you get from them to, I mean, it's like robbing Paul to pay Peter, or robbing Peter to pay Paul, any way you want to look at it. Or probably because we are, I don't know, we have been hypnotized. Because I'm surprised with what is happening in Nigeria now, with all the attack, different forms of attack, either from directly from government or through their agents. Nigerians are just trying to manage with the situation, and they are trying to cope. And before you know what's happening, they are already accepting it.
We will talk about that. But having talked about the increase in electricity tariff, let's also look at the other side, which is the fuel increase.
It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. You know, we don't just have to. The way the pandemic of coronavirus hits the world and Nigeria, so that even the price of crude oil in the international market came down,
dropped.
As at that time, the price was coming down. The Nigerian government did not reduce the pump price to a reasonable rate.
He did. He said he left it to market forces.
As at that time, when other countries, the pump price of petrol was dropping drastically, Nigerian government eventually, through their so-called agents of NNPC and what have you, reduced it. And it took almost like a week or 2 or 3 before the petrol stations will adjust the meter. Nigerian government was looking at them. Now that they say that yes, the the price of crude oil in the international market is increasing, immediately they are adjusting, they are increasing. And who is going to pay for it? The Nigerian people. There are so many questions we need to ask them. Why are the refineries not working? If refineries are not working, who will pay the price of that irresponsible governance that had made it impossible for the refineries to work? More questions that they cannot answer. That if the refineries are not working
there is a particular portion, amount of crude oil that is left to be used to subsidize, to ensure that that amount is for local production. At the end of the day, when we also import based on the price of international market, are we still going to sell the PMS for that same amount? Then other question we also asked the Nigerian government that they've not answered, as far as petroleum production is concerned in Nigeria. Over the years, why have they made it impossible for our refineries to work? Why is it that they are following foreign dictates to make sure that all they do is to deregulate, just like they are trying to devalue the naira? Everything is D. And at the end of the day, it will boil down to our destruction of the Nigerian economy.
Now, let's also look at it this way. Much as we like to criticize government because of the hits that we are all feeling, let's also look at the idea of deregulation as the government is introducing now, and the removal of subsidy, which actually led to this increase that we are talking about. Aren't they
just trying to cause more confusion?
We heard that a lot goes into that issue of subsidy, and most times it ends up in just few pockets. We've heard all these things.
Just like during Jonathan's period, when they were talking about subsidy, they discovered that so many other persons never supplied anything. They just come up with one paper or the other. And all these people were called subsidy thieves. Their names were published. That means probably, of course, there isn't any subsidy. And of course, before elections that brought Buhari to power, they made us to understand that there was nothing like subsidy, that it was a scam. These same people are the ones telling us that there is subsidy. And if, of course, government cannot refine petroleum products, then who will bear the brunt? It's not the people. Then if there is subsidy, then they should continue to subsidize until they are able to refine. We cannot continue to suffer for their irresponsibility. So I don't think there is any reasons given to us based on all this. And coming to the area of privatization, why must it also be issue of privatization, deregulation on something that has to do with national assets, something that, of course, centers around our national economy. If federal government feels that, yes, they cannot do very well in trying to refine our petroleum product, why not give the states and local government the opportunity to do that? Why are you giving individuals? Why must we wait for someone like Dangote, an individual?
The federal government also came out recently to say that its revenue has dropped by 60%, and that the possibility of continued subsidy is not there. Are you also looking at it from that point of view?
And you think we can trust this government? They only bring those figures to deceive Nigerian people. At the time, they will tell us our oil well is drying, that we should...
But the facts are there. In the last 6 months, nothing has happened anywhere in the world.
Well, I told you, just like I said, I cannot trust the Nigerian government. They have so many ways of trying to add more to our confusion. We don't believe them, because if the country is that down, we will not even be seeing the way these are so-called politicians live their life. Look at their lifestyle, the bogus amount they collect at the executive, the judiciary, the legislators. You see what they collect, and you look at their lifestyle, the recent marriage of our people. You saw everything, the way Naira is being messed up. So all these things they keep on telling us is to find excuse to go ahead with policies that has been handed over to them by foreign powers. This whole idea of deregulation, commercialization, privatization is an IMF World Bank agenda that is being imposed on developing countries just to make it possible for these so powerful countries to bring in their investment and continue to take over the economy of local countries. And that is what our government is doing. That's why some of us are beginning to see reasons why we must look at governance in Nigeria as more of playing to the gallery. Instead of coming direct to tell us that it's an ideological thing they are pursuing, they should come out to let us know that it's a pure capitalist ideology they are pursuing. And they are being inspired by foreign powers. They are not doing that. They are just trying to play around, trying to mesmerize us and confuse us the more. So most of us don't believe them. And if we are to be a serious country, for Christ's sake, the only thing we have that is giving us so much money, more than 90% of our national economy, crude oil. Why are we not nationalizing it? And that is why all they've been doing is to ensure that through their agents in power to make sure that the refineries don't work.
What do you mean by nationalizing it?
It must be owned by the Nigerian people. Not
who owns it?
The Nigerian people through the Nigerian state. If we
who owns it now? That's the question I'm asking
you. It's been taken away from us.
By who?
Because the refineries are no longer working and we are importing petroleum products. Of recent, they say Niger, the refineries are working, that we must start importing petroleum products from Niger. I mean, is it not ridiculous?
All right, it's Voice of Liberation on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barigo Onireke Ibadan. We will now open the studio lines for our listener who wants to call in. I saw some of the lines there blinking. 0808-010-1067, 0808-010-1067, or 0908-111-1067, 0908-111-1067. You can listen to us live also on our website, www.pensioners106.7fm.com. Just go there. You can listen to us. You can as well like our Facebook page, Pensioners FM, and drop your comments. Femi, check the comments. If they are there, you will have to read them to the hearing of our listener. I still have in the studio Comrade Andrew Emeleze, the coordinator of Workers' Convergence, who is also the immediate past chairman of the Trade Union Congress in Nigeria. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome on the program. Welcome on the program.
Well, good morning.
Good morning
it's
to
very
you.
pathetic. It's very pathetic. I've heard all what you have been reading since and over the weekends. It is very pathetic to Nigerians because these are leaders. They see us as remorse. They are just telling us beyond life. How can you put the role of the Nigerians in a section of people? The way they travel with their cars, everything, and they say they are making change. What are they are making change? They want to make us more slaves in Nigeria, and we are not going to take it. We are not taking it at all. We are not.
So what do you want to do?
We are not taking it anything.
What do you want to do?
Because the legislation, all those things they those who are saying we are practically, even we have pitched ourselves to come and rise against us. One lie to us. Look at this black one. Which was defending.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
I'm Isaac from Federal.
You are Isaac. You're welcome on the program.
I want to commend you for this morning.
Thank you very
much. I
much.
want to appreciate the guests in the house.
Thank you.
I am very sure of one thing. When the national anthem was written, I believe it was written for people who understand what Nigeria actually means. Talking about us. They assume that they are talking about Nigerians as the people, the masses. They are talking about their own people. They know what they are talking about. We must question the kind of education we have in this country because it's like everybody is frustrated. Nobody is moving like with a great force that can stop any government that is misbehaving. We have had enough. And secondly, this thought that the friends of your enemy is also your enemy. These guys have people behind them. If these developed nations want to achieve something, and Nigeria doesn't want to agree, they will force them. They will tell them, if you don't do this, we will stop giving you support, we will not give you this money. But when it comes to the way they are treating Nigerians, these developed countries don't stop them. They don't say, why are you treating Nigerians like that? Go back to your country and make sure you put it right.
Thank you, Mr. Isaac.
We must put these two things in perspective.
Thank
and
you.
I believe there is light coming up soon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. It's Voice of Liberation, 0808-111-1067. We may still squeeze in one or two calls before we end this segment of the program. I still have Comrade Andrew Emeleze, the coordinator of Workers' Convergence in Oyo State, who is also the immediate past chairman of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Oyo State chapter. Now, Comrade Emeleze, let's go back to the protest that you had recently. Hello, good morning. Let's take this call. We'll come back to you. Now, you had protested, and I'm sure you are done with your protests.
We're not done. It's just the beginning, and there is going to be more and more protest because the system calls for it.
Is it protest we need at this time?
Or looking at Nigeria, in fact, everybody should be protesting from everywhere. In all fields, I think we are disappointed in what government is doing. Even children should, even pregnant women, the photos should be protested.
In the report, we had an 8-year-old being part of the protest.
Yes, an 8-year-old girl, Beatrice, carried placards, and she was part of the procession all through, and she also aired her view that she was not happy that Nigerians are suffering. I mean, that word Nigerians are suffering from an 8-year-old girl sounds very powerful. That if a child can realize that, I mean, everybody should be on the streets together.
Now, one of our callers said they are not going to take it. And that was why I was asking him, what exactly does he want to do? I know that some of you activists do complain that most times when you go out, Nigerians don't seem to, you said it even right here in the studio, that it seems everybody is comfortable. That when you people go out, you don't seem to have support from Nigerians. Are you therefore on your own?
In fact, that has been the major challenge. And we just have to appeal to ourselves that are we comfortable with our situation? Do we want to hand over these sufferings to our children? I mean, what my parents went through is what I'm also going through. And I will not be fulfilled. I will not be happy to hand over this miserable life to my children. And that is why we are out today. And that is why we are always out on the streets. And that is why we will continue to appeal to Nigerians. We don't have to be selfish about this. Unlike all those things we do say, even in the church, that however bad the country is, you keep on praying for just God to do it for you. And if you're happy, you sit down at home. If you sit down at home, you made it, you cannot sleep. Because if I'm hungry, I'll come to knock and beg for food in your house, or probably I'll come at night and rob you. And that's why we must be in it together. For the future of our children and generations unborn, we must be ready to make sacrifices. And the only thing we can do for now, because the country has been hijacked. It's been hijacked by very powerful people being controlled by foreign forces. And if we don't confront them, if there is no continuous and endless process, endless protest to end this malady in Nigeria, then of course we'll be the ones to pay the price.
Are you aware that some protesters are getting arrested?
They will be arrested. It's part of the sacrifice. We are not afraid of arrest. This is not the first time we have been arrested. I heard of late in Osun, some persons were arrested. In Lagos, some of our comrades have been arrested. Our lawyers are there. We'll continue to protest. They will not use that to intimidate us. This country belongs to us, or we are all stakeholders. We are also interested in the future of this country. And if people are protesting, I think government should need to look inward and see if they are doing the right thing. Because if they are doing the right thing, people will be seated at home comfortable. They will not protest. So for you to have pockets of protest, look at what a veteran, a very good Nigerian had said, an elder statesman, Comrade Alhaji Barabe Musa. He said that governance in Nigeria has lost it all. That Buhari had failed woefully. If this is coming from Barabe Musa, then you now have reasons to justify the protest. In everything you can think of,
Comrade,
governance has failed in Nigeria.
We have to let go at this point. I'd like to say a very big thank you to Comrade Andrew Emeleze, the coordinator, All Workers Convergence, Oyo State, who also is the immediate past chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Oyo State chapter. It's been nice having you on Voice of Liberation this morning.
Good to be with you too. Thank you so much.
I wish you success, and to every Nigerian too, hoping that things will definitely turn around for the good of every one of us.
Thank you.
It's all right. We will be back to continue with the second lap of the program, where we will look at President Muhammadu Buhari, erudite guest, who will do justice to that. Please stay tuned.
Our business is to speak for the voiceless and demand better deals for the vulnerable. Stakeholders must be alive to their responsibilities to the people. If they are not, we will shout. The program is Voice of Liberation on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barigo, Onireke, Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. Have you learned a voice today?
Both pirates, yes, they're up. I sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottling speed. But my age was made strong by the hands of the Almighty. With firewood in this generation, triumphantly, won't you help to sing another song of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourself from enter slavery. None better would set skin free our woman. I've no fear for atomic energy. None of them can stop time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it, but we must have to fulfill the book. Hey, won't you help us sing another song of freedom? It's all I ever had. Redemption song, another song of freedom. Oh, redemption song.
Our business is to speak for the voiceless and demand better deals for the vulnerable. Stakeholders must be alive to their responsibilities to the people. If they are not, we will shout. The program is Voice of Liberation on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barigo, Onireke, Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. Have you learned a voice today?
Tomorrow, get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Freedom is coming tomorrow.
Welcome back. Before we launch the second segment of this program, I have this message from Akintunde Olusegun Amos. 87 anti-SAP not spread through drama presentation in the market, and the people got the message. What we need is more mobilization. The 1987 anti-SAP not spread through drama presentation in the market, and the people got the message. All right, I take that again. He said what we need is more mobilization. The 1987 SAP riot spread through drama presentation in the market, and the people got the message. Okay, I got that right now. Sorry, the system is a bit far away from where I'm sitting. Olusegun, please bear with me. Promoters of the Vision 2020 had envisioned that Nigeria's achievement of becoming one of the 20 best economies in the world. Conceived by former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2006, The blueprint of Vision 2020 was launched in September 2009 by late President Umaru Yar'Adua's administration amid fanfare. The main organs responsible for the development of the vision were the National Council on Vision 2020, the lead organ chaired by the President, National Steering Committee, which consisted of about 70 persons, the National Technical Working Group, comprising about 20 to 25 experts in specified thematic areas, the Stakeholder Development Committee, which included state governments, federal ministries, departments, and agencies, and other key institutions. But at the expiration of the targets on January 1, 2020, Nigeria was not among the world's top 20 economies in terms of gross domestic product, GDP, and perhaps on so many other fronts. It was the 28th largest economy in the world in 2019, according to data from the International Monetary Fund. The long-term plan did not make any difference on Nigeria's developmental challenges, as many Nigerians are in worse socio-economic conditions than ever before. Data have shown that Nigeria now has the highest number of people living in extreme poverty, with an estimated 87 million people said to be living on less than 381 naira a day. The World Poverty Clock said the figure increases every 6 months. Perhaps this is why President Muhammadu Buhari thought it wise to conceive another long-term vision, the Vision 2050. At the inauguration a couple of days ago, President Buhari said the main objective of these successor plans are to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty within the next 10 years, particularly given the World Bank's projection that Nigeria will become the world's third most populous country by 2050, with over 400 million people. The president noted that it had become necessary to develop successor plans to the Nigeria Vision 2020 and the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, which both lapse in December this year, to ensure continuity and efficiency in the country's development planning. The National Steering Committee for the Development of the Vision 2050, which replaces the Vision 2020, and ERGP, would be jointly chairing Hajia Zainab Ahmed. Joining me in the studio this morning to discuss the proposed Vision 2050 is a veteran broadcaster and a former director of news, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Southwest, Pastor Dare Ulufemi, who at the point of retirement was uplifted to the Director, News Media, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. Pastor Olorufemi, welcome on Voice of Liberation.
Thank you very much, Pius. Thank you for linking me up with listeners.
Let me start this way. President Muhammadu Buhari is looking at Vision 2050. I'm sure this derives from the Vision 2020. So, looking at the two sides now, Vision 2050 in view, Vision 2020 gone. What is your impression so far?
Well, a good leader must think of leaving his country, of leaving behind the people he's leading, leaving them better than he met them, and to dream of a future that will outlive him, outlive his tenure. Every good country we see today, developed countries we see today, are dreams of past leaders. So it is a good thing for the president to dream of a better country that will not only outlive his tenure, well, I wish him a long life, but he was likely to outlive him in 2050.
Are we a nation of dreamers?
Yes. Dreamers?
Yes. Are we a nation of dreamers? Have we always lived in the dream world? I'm saying this based on what we already have on ground. In 2006, we launched the Vision 2020. 14 years down the line, we are still dreaming. Even when it doesn't look like we have achieved anything based on the one that was launched. Or do you share a different opinion?
I don't. As from the prelude read, the Vision 2020 didn't achieve its goals. But one thing that is I'm impressed about is that the president is admitting that there must be a continuity. So he is not building, he's not dismantling the dream of 2020 and build another dream of 2050. So he said continuity. He called it successor plan. So I think it's a good thing that he dreams. Well, the content of the dream and how to achieve it is what my worry and my concern.
Some people I spoke with on this particular matter said instead of talking about a Vision 2020, which is like running away from responsibilities, here is a president who practically abandoned the Vision 2020 when he came. We didn't even hear so much about Vision 2020 during the 5 years that President Muhammad Buhari has been on the saddle in the country. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, we are hearing Vision 2050. Is the president really serious about what he's saying?
I think it's a matter of semantics. The content of the 2020 is about development.
Yes.
A roadmap to making Nigeria better and to make Nigerians better people in terms of their welfare, in terms of their living standard. Whether he called it 2020 or he acted it or he has been acting it would have made any difference. If, for example, Jonathan was talking of transformation, he was talking about power, he was talking about diversified economy, he was talking about improved crude oil production, he was talking about refining
our crude
yes,
by ourselves.
So that we will no longer be, I'm sorry to say, permit me, like a stupid somebody who will use his head to carry raw material to a neighboring town and use his money ahead to buy and to carry the fine product. When what he needs to produce the raw materials, for example, talk it mortar, odo, in Yoruba, somebody will use his head, he wants to eat pounded yam. He's a producer of tubers of yam. He will carry his head to transport tubers to a neighboring town to go and pound at a higher price and buy pounded yam back home. So I think that's so when you look at indirectly whether he said it or not, acting
in his own way.
Yes, to improve the economy, to diversify the economy,
with what we
especially
have,
with emphasis on agriculture.
With what we have on ground with respect to this Vision 2020, which was supposed to make Nigeria one of the 20 biggest economies in the world, based on certain parameters, which we are going to look at as the program progresses. Take away the Buhari factor, with the state of things, with the way Nigeria is today, is any president for that matter, as a 2020 Nigerian president, does any Nigerian president have the justification to begin to look at another long-term vision?
I don't think so. I won't say so. Why I won't say so is that Nigeria has produced document, which we have not. We do not have the wherewithal or the courage to implement. Leaders appear to me to have been encumbered by factors that made them unable to implement so many recommendations, so many projections that have been put on. Even by experts. The 2020 you mentioned, I think about 70 experts worked on it. Now the new one, they say about 26 groups. Groups. I don't know how many each group
would have.
So the one we produce, what has happened? What methane is another group going to produce that we have not been mentioning. Is there any special problem that is emerging 2021 that Nigeria has not been facing before? So whatever is the agenda 2050 will be, or is aimed to be, we have been discussing them. Either our experts in the universities, our research institutions, or the national conference. Now, some people are saying we must not mention national conference. So it's likely, maybe we will go for another conference, call it by another name. We are going to be discussing the same issue.
Okay.
So it appears we are running in a circus.
For the purpose of this discourse, I think we are going to take the issues one after the other, because if you are talking about the vision 50-50 or vision 2050, as it were, there are some parameters that we will look at. But first, let's take this call from a caller. Perhaps want to say something. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Pius.
Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Good morning. Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
I want to say this. One thing about our vision in Nigeria is that believes in this vision. The president himself do not believe in this vision.
How do you know? Williams, are you in the president's mind?
Now, let me say this. As we are saying, we have had 5 years to invest in the past vision. What did he do to affect that past vision? Now, if he refused as a president to invest in this outgone vision, why then would he expect the incoming government to invest in its own vision? The government is continuing. He did not show any kind of responsibility to the past vision. Now, we are here where we are. Nigeria is a drama, somehow a sickly one. And as the guest has said in the studio, the president somehow has not shown any kind of ability as a leader. Now, we keep saying other countries, other responsibilities, those leaders of those countries take upon themselves. They always want to leave their country better than how they made their country. That is the job of a leader. But when we have leaders, each time they come, they leave Nigeria far worse than they met it. Now, lastly, please, the power tariff and the guest they brought to the studio. Yes, she said all she said. No one expects her to say anything more than she said. Now, she talked about meter. Since this idea of it, let's take a power to private hands, they talked about meter from the very onset. They came with ICAP, they came with a map, but somehow they themselves destroyed that initiative because they did not want customers to be metered. Because they believe that by not metering customers, they are making more money by estimation. So what she has said, nobody expects her to say anything different. But to me, it is shallow and it's an insult to our integrity as a people for if she could come out after almost 10 years to tell us the same thing they'll be saying.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Williams. You see, I agree with you, Mr. Williams, on a number of things he raised. You see, whatever you call it, I think it's a matter of recording. Recording is like a capsule. The content are the same, but you are changing the color. You are changing the name.
Okay.
Nigeria issues are the same.
All right, let's take this one more call, then you can react. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, thanks, sir. It's Isaac from Australia.
Isaac, welcome.
Thanks, sir. Well, I am not surprised all sorts are coming out. Because before you can present the vision, you must have shown it that you are worthy of carrying visions. Look at elections. We see banners, we see adverts, we see posters almost everywhere, including on different materials we use at home. You want to drive a vision into people, the people that don't have provision. There is hunger. You want to drive the vision. What is the content of the vision? Is it in line with the Nigerian national anthem? Is it in line with the regions? Are you driving from the local? Are you driving with the state? Are you driving with the central to ensure that you are carrying everybody together? This is not a vision. They can call it anything with due respect. We learned about vision, and we know how visions are driven. Visions cannot be driven on confusion. Vision cannot be driven on frustration. Vision cannot be driven through ways that are so... You can't even talk. You can't speak your mind. Vision can't be conveyed that way. But I am very sure there is a generation that is coming forth, and things will surely come to the right state. So I want to say, well, they can go away with Vision 2050, but we know where the SDGs, we know where it is today. From the Millennium Goals, we know where it goes to. So they are coming with 2050 now. Let us see how to go. But I know the right people is going to take the place, and I'm very sure of this.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac, for that call. Now, you heard him. I think we can forge ahead. Before we took those calls, I said we are going to look at certain parameters, of course, that are indicative of a vision, just like the kind that the president is setting for the country. For Nigeria in particularly, one of such would definitely have to do with the oil sector, because that's our mainstay. The government is talking about deregulation of oil now, which is the in thing. Everybody is talking about it, which has led to even the removal of fuel subsidy. How do you feel about that?
About the regulation?
Yes. And the way we are going about it particularly.
No, which way?
What the government is saying is that it is going to leave the issue of oil to the market forces. The way it used to regulate it and say, oh, okay, fix this, fix that, I will pay the subsidy. The government is talking about that now. But we are not seeing any signs that our refineries are even being repaired. So I don't know, is that the way to go?
As to the refineries, with the little knowledge I have, I know some of them they call it turnaround. They want to do a turnaround. They want to refurbish them. Refurbish. And some, even before completion, are set on fire. I think if they are managed by private sector, I think they will work. It is difficult for the Nigerian government, even many governments in the world, to do business and make profit. In our own environment, I remember in some cases, even in my village, where government attempted to do, they wanted to do agric. Some heaps that a farmer will say he spent 2 days to do. They will say they collect money for 10 people to do. So the cost of the input will be bloated, and the output will be going down
to the input.
Yes. So Nigerian government can never make profitable business, especially on oil. It's our good man, and everybody who touches oil want to make money from it, from any point. So as long as government is running it, government will continue to have
so in the light of that,
yes, but it's difficult to shift the cost and the fault on Nigerians. In other countries where government don't do such business, government has a way of making social
amenities
available for the people. We don't have in this country. For example, this COVID-19, some countries pay their citizens, working and non-working. This country, I've seen it on paper. I've had it on the screen. Billions and billions that the government has been spending as palliative. I don't know how much has come to it. So government business It's difficult.
So, in the light of this issue of oil, are you saying that government should just hands off completely and leave it to the private sector, like we have with the power sector today?
We've done it with the power sector. Are we making progress?
That's the issue.
We have a lot of internal problems that make it difficult for me to say, let government hands off.
Let government stay.
Yes, because the way we want that government has hands off, we are not making progress. I had you discuss the issue of tariff before I came. If government really has hands off, government shouldn't be talking about tariff.
So what's the fate of an average Nigerian as far as these things are concerned?
I don't know, honestly.
Okay, let's talk about another area, because when you talk about vision, it also encompasses the way a country is run. And as of today, the way our country is run is supposed to be founded on the Constitution. But we'll talk about that after this caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Please, William calling back.
Oh, William, make it very snappy, please. Very, very snappy.
I want to quickly ask this question. The thing I find a bit puzzling. Perhaps that can help me answer it. A president will say, I want to do this. I have this plan for the nation. But they did not allow me to do what I planned for the nation. So the question is this: who are these days that are more powerful than the president of a country and not allow the president to implement the plans or the promises he had made?
Thank you.
For the nation that was
Thank
happening.
you. Thank you. You heard him.
Did they?
You heard him.
Well, some will say maybe the spiritual forces. Some will say they are some clique. The day. Even the announcement of June 12 election, the president said that they compelled him to do it.
To annul.
Yeah. So this day, maybe it could be you and I. I don't know. I don't know that.
Let's talk about the review of the 1999 Constitution. The Senate has moved to look at the Constitution. And from day one, we've always had this issue that the Constitution is not owned by Nigerians, because just a handful of people sat down and made the Constitution and called it a Nigerian Constitution and said, we the people. Let's even start from there. Now that the Senate is making move to review the Constitution, is it review that we need, or a brand new Constitution from, like some people from some quarters have canvassed? What exactly do we need?
I'm not a lawyer, and I will not claim authority over Constitution.
Yes.
If you mention specific issue in the Constitution, I may lend my view to it on it. But I think the National Conference, which some people said should not be mentioned, I think everything that Nigeria needs is in that document, because various interest groups have come to make their. Are you going to invent idea for Constitution for review? So if we go back to those things, I believe whatever Nigeria need to change or enforce are in the submissions of the conference.
Of the conference.
The number of people, the expertise of people that form that conference. Do we have them in the National Assembly? Do you understand me? Do you have such caliber of people? The traditional religious leaders, credible, highly respected people, professionals, that people representing regional groups. They went and sat for weeks, debated and documented some things, and it's never seen the light of the day. where are we going to draw idea to develop a new constitution that are not already in those documents? I think we should go back to the submissions of the conference.
Let me pick an item from that conference, and that has to do with the presidency, where it talked about the issue of a 6-year one term for Nigeria. Yeah. Do we need that kind of presidency in Nigeria instead of this 4-year 2-term? We have a 6-year one term.
I don't think
will it make any difference? That's the point.
It may not. But I think if you know you are going to spend 6 years, hit or miss it once for all, I think tendency is there for you to do your best and get out. In most cases, second term in this country, even for governors, they don't do well. Many governors who have gone second time don't do well. So if somebody knows that, oh, I have just this one opportunity, 6 years. I think the difference is 2 years.
2 years.
So we will remove this order of transition through an election. This, which is normally through do or die, because the person wants to retain power, and somebody wants to snatch power from him. Except we thank God for Goodluck Jonathan, who relinquished power after the election. In many countries who have been blood. So I think while it may not matter how many years, if you give some people 2 years, they'll work. Give some people 3 years, they'll work. Some people, if you give them life presidency, they will still fail.
So the point is that it's about the quality of leadership that we have in the country. Have such leaders who will be able. President Buhari is living in 2021. If you look at the country today, at least from the frontliners that we have in the country, do we have the kind of people who will emerge and really push this 2050 agenda to becoming what it ought to be in the real sense of it?
I doubt if there's any type of American.
Who's living in 2023. Thank you.
I doubt if we have any type of American that has made or is making America that we do not have in Nigeria that could do the same.
So where has the problem been? Where has the problem been?
Most of the times, for such people to emerge is a very, very difficult thing. Don't ask me who. Don't ask me who. Some people who have successfully run businesses.
I was tempted to ask you if Asiwaju of Lagos is one of those persons, but you said I should not ask you.
Please don't ask me.
Atiku Abubakar, is he one of those kind of persons we should be looking at?
Please don't ask me.
What about Kingsley Moghalu?
Please don't ask me.
It's all right. Let us talk about the cultural diversity of Nigeria, because there is no way you will have a one Nigeria without the issue of cultural diversity addressed. And as we look to 2050, the oneness and the unity of Nigeria should be paramount, isn't it?
Yes. In fact, I was about to make that suggestion. One thing that any person could do for this country is how to manage this plurality. Vision 2050, without addressing this diversity, will amount to nothing. A situation where a group is lording it over hundreds of other groups. I don't know how long we
can go.
Yes. The clamor is drumming louder and louder every day, every time.
So there's conflict in the country.
Of course. It's not even an unusual thing to have conflict. But I hope and I pray we'll be able to manage it that it doesn't lead to confrontation.
But that's why you are here.
See,
how do we manage it? How do we manage it?
The Constitution of Nigeria, I do not know the content of the Constitution of every country will make provision for managing this federal character. That is, every group must be represented in so and so by so and so number. Are we following it? You get to some ministries today, or you get to many organizations today, it's the same section of the country that is virtually leading every group, every department or ministry or sector. I don't know how long this country will be able to manage it. This type of injustice, this type of marginalization, this type of ethnic domination by a few over. In many countries like the former USSR, Yugoslavia, some of them, after much fight, decided to part. Nigeria must find a way to ameliorate this marginalization. If not, somebody called that a generation is coming that will seek redress. And people say, those who make peaceful change impossible, make violent change inevitable. I pray Nigeria will not go to that type of violent change.
Are Nigerians of today not seeking redress enough? Are not seeking enough redress? Is this something that we have to wait for another generation to come and do for us?
We normally asking for your right could be a good way, but in most cases it doesn't come peacefully. Today, see what is happening in Southern Cardinal. See what is happening in the North Central. Killings, kidnapping in many parts of this country, or virtually every part of this country. In my village, my village, they're predominantly farmers. Farmers are now finding it very, very, very difficult to go to their farm, their own ancestral home. Foreigners come there, intimidating them, using their own business to eat up the business of the farmers. How long this will last, I don't know. But I'm sure someday, I don't know how. Don't ask me how. I don't know.
I'm not going to ask you how, but I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask you.
It will not last forever.
I'm going to ask you, if we continue like this, are we going to reach 2050 together?
My prayer is that we will have a leader who will address these differences with wisdom and do it amicably. As it is today, 2050 is a lot year away with the current groaning by many, many sections of this country. Many, many sections. Groaning. How long this groaning will be before their freedom or liberation, I don't know. I hope we'll get to 2050. For those some of us may not get there. I don't want to leave my children behind in a crisis-ridden country.
And that brings us again to the devolution of power. You know, that's why I started with the issue of the Constitution, because I know that we can hardly forge ahead without talking about the ground norm itself, which is the nation's Constitution.
I'm not saying that we should not review Constitution. What I'm saying is that
the issue of asking the federal government to let certain things go to the various federating units and possibly the states, is that asking for too much?
Yes and no. It doesn't pay those you have mentioned. Who don't allow things to work. So devolution of power may not pay them. In other words, certain things that if you say Oyo State should do or Southwest region should decide, it means that certain power of the region will say that will not concern Abuja, but someday in Abuja we are interested, including the control of your water.
But on the other side of it, on the flip side, assuming we choose to go that way,
if we don't go, or if we go the way of devolution to, you see, one thing is this: if you devolve, we come back home, for example, Southwest, you will still have
internal.
Yes, but it will not be as excruciating as this. It may be people in Okyogun versus Ibadan, people in Ogbomoso. All these things, they know how to manage it because they have their own traditional ways of managing.
It's proximity.
Yes, they have their managing some of those things. It will not be. But if what you say what happens, what applies in Sokoto must always apply in Ibadan. And failure will be that there will not be devolution. I fear for this country.
And as we are talking about devolution from the economic point of view, there's also this security point of view, just like we are having the issue of Amoteku now in the various regions, in the southwest region of the country. There's been this agitation for state police. That's another form of devolution. Because as it is today, we have just a central police. And you talked about the issue of Sokoto. A Sokoto man will come to police Oyo State, and a Oyo man will go to Sokoto State to police it.
I didn't get your question.
My question is, the issue of state policing that we have been hearing about, because we are talking about security now, which is also tied to the Vision 2050 that we are talking about. Because without a secured nation, we cannot achieve Vision 2050. So we are looking at the possible ways of beefing up the security in this country. The Southwest region has taken to the issue of a regional security outfit, which is the Amoteku. And the issue of state policing has been on the table for quite some time. The question is it time we adopted, without wasting more time, this state policing? Is it going to make any difference in terms of tackling the security challenges we are having in this country today?
I think to work. The fear of, I do not share in the fear that if the states have their own police,
yes,
they will use it for
political reasons.
Yes, it means the federal could have also do the same. The federal fears that having state police, the state will use it. It means the federal can also use it to abuse,
to oppress,
to oppress people, which I think has happened before, where elections were rigged and they loaded the place with police.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. All right. I wonder where that is coming from.
So, Nigeria is talking another way of community policing. I think the difference is very little. Community policing means that people know
their
environment. They know who is coming. They know who is going out. They know who is not working, but is living big. In case of state police, it means that the police, I say, will have its own and arm it.
Yes. Be in charge.
Be in charge.
Because now we see our governors as ceremonial security chiefs in their states. Where you cannot tell a policeman is not answerable to you. Neither is the soldier, nor the Air Force officer answerable to a state governor. And yet we say he is the chief security officer of the state. So these are the issues that we are talking about.
I agree. There should be...
It's Voice of Liberation on Pensioners 106.7 FM, Agbarigo, Onireke, Ibadan. My name is Pius Nsabe. I have been talking with Pastor Dare Olorunfemi, a former director, News, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Southwest. Also, a former director, New Media, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. The program is Voice of Liberation. You can like our page and drop your comments on our Facebook page, Pensioners FM. It's as simple as that, Pensioners FM. Or better still, go to our website, www.pensionersfm1067.com. You view us live and listen to us live there via our YouTube page. And of course, you want to call in on the program from wherever you are this morning, 0808 010 1067, 0808 010 1067, or 0908 111 1067 to be part of the program this morning. And we have been looking at the proposed Vision 2050 by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. And of course, we are taking out some parameters that determine, or better still, shape the kind of vision that we should be looking at as far as 2050 is concerned. One of them is the issue of the deregulation of the oil sector. Don't forget that Nigeria's mainstay as of today is the oil sector. If you have about 90% of your revenue coming from a particular sector, and the government says it wants to deregulate that sector, what for you is deregulation in the first place? Is it going to help develop this country so that by 2050 we emerge one of the best economies in the world? There is also the issue of the Constitution review, as the National Assembly is proposing to carry out. We've had series of them in the past. Has it made any difference? Is the one proposed by the Ninth Assembly going to make any difference? What would you like to see reviewed in the Nigerian Constitution? Or would you rather we have for ourselves a brand new constitution that would reflect the we the people factor that the current constitution is talking about? And then our peace, unity, amid our diversity, how will that shape the 2050 vision? These are the kind of issues that we are talking about on the program this morning. Now, let's look at the issue of corruption. I know that this one is one issue that at times when you want to discuss it, you don't even know how to start it. Or better still, is one issue that is probably been overflogged as far as the Nigerian system is concerned. But is there any way we are going to achieve Vision 2050 without truly curbing, or better still, stamping out the kind of corruption that we see in the country today? Is that possible?
But let me first say that it's difficult to stamp out corruption or any vice. We can only reduce to a level where it's no longer being a hindrance to national development. There is no way, there's no level of human organization that we can succeed with corruption, including home. If a father is corrupt, he cannot manage his they cannot manage his home, and it's going to breed children that will become problem to the society. So there is no way we will achieve anything significant without reducing corruption. But I must say it cannot be stamped out.
How do we reduce corruption? Do you have any idea the kind of things we can do to reduce corruption in this country? Because we like I said, we've talked about it. It's more like a household name now. That word corruption in Nigeria.
It's I would say start with yourself. The transparency you want to see in the society, start with yourself. Second level, your area of influence. You are a broadcaster. Make sure this place, you don't allow corruption to come in.
Setting.
Yes. Nigeria has enough framework to curb corruption. For more than a month now, the EFCC has been in the front burner of discourse of who took what and who took away what was recovered,
Looted,
what you call
relooted.
So which
relooted
means,
what was earlier
yeah,
recovered.
our problem is not institutions, that we do not have enough institutions to curb corruption. EFCC was a very fearsome organization, but you and I know, or possibly you know more than I, some issues that came up about looting and re-looting. Start with yourself, Pius. If you start with yourself and I start with myself, the change we want to see in this society, let us start with ourselves. Many people will say corruption. Go to the street today. You say, oh, the president or the governor is doing this, the labor leader, the leader of unit of Okada Association, they're exploiting their members. Pepper Grinders Association, the leaders are
exploiting their members.
Yes.
So we blame Buhari because he's in Aso Rock.
So Aso Rock is not really the problem. What started in your home or in various homes, in various communities, is what assembled in Aso Rock and assembled in the National Assembly.
Okay, let's take this call. I'll get back to you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Pius. Nsabe.
Good morning, Mr. John Joku.
Thank you. Good morning, Pastor Larry Olorunfemi. I've known Pastor since at the time he was at Radio Nigeria, Premier FM. Good morning, Pastor. Thank you for your analysis this morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I know you are really lamenting now. You are saying that we have a leader that will address the differences. But I just have a question. I know you will recall during the military era too. That's why I'm putting this one to you. I read it too. And I want you to tell me the difference between Major General Muhammadu Buhari in 1984 to 85 and the President Buhari now. Judging by this quotation, sir, from Major General Ibrahim Babangida, listen to me. On 27th August 1985, if you recall, regrettably, it turned out that Major General Muhammadu Buhari was too rigid and uncompromising. His attitude to issues of national significance, effort to make him understand that a diverse policy like Nigeria required recognition and appreciation of differences in both cultural and individual perception. Only fact that the great deal at it. What's the difference between then and now? Pastor Long.
Thank you. As we round off on the program this morning, maybe you should respond to his question because he practically took it from my mouth. I was going to ask you if you actually believe that in 2015, when Buhari came in, in 2015, you share in the view that President Buhari is a man of integrity, and then 5 years down the line, is he overwhelmed? Tie it down and respond as we wind down on the program.
President, the general.
Yes, he was quoting what then General Ibrahim Babangida said when Buhari was kicked out of power.
Yes, the general that was so quoted then could act as with military fiat, could give order, and it will be done. Today, you have mentioned the day, I quote you, the day that makes things not working. Maybe those days have encumbered him as a person. And so today he's a civilian person who should listen to this, listen to that, listen to this before he doesn't decree.
All right. I'd like to say thank you to my guest on the program this morning, Pastor Dare Olorunfemi, former Director, News, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Southwest, and also former Director, New Media, FRCN. I guess that one is at the national level. It's been wonderful having you on the program today. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you very much, Pius.
And I'd like to say thank you to the producer of this program, Babatunde Chamio, and of course, my in-house producer, Baba Femi Obide, whom I call my right-hand man. Sports Drill is up next on our menu. Thank you to my esteemed listener. Let's do this again next Saturday. My name is Pius Nsabe. Continue to be a good citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Have yourself a lovely weekend. Bye.